When the offseason began, across the National Football League, many expected the defending powerhouse Kansas City Chiefs to focus on familiar priorities: offensive line depth, pass protection, and continuing to build around superstar quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Instead, Kansas City made a move that immediately turned heads around the league. They handed running back Kenneth Walker III a $43 million contract, a massive investment at a position many teams have become reluctant to pay. The deal became even more fascinating considering Walker had just completed a postseason run that ended with him being named Super Bowl MVP. For a franchise that has typically relied on Mahomes' arm to dominate games, committing that kind of money to a running back signals something important. The Chiefs believe Walker brings an element their offense has been missing for years. And the organization didn't hide its excitement. Shortly after the signing, Kansas City posted a nearly 5-minute highlight video of Walker's biggest plays with the Seattle Seahawks, accompanied by a blunt and confident message on social media. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a dog in Kenneth Walker." That statement might sound like typical hype from a team's social media account. But when you dig deeper into Kansas City's offensive evolution over the past 2 seasons, the move begins to make much more sense. Because despite remaining one of the most dangerous offenses in football, the Chiefs quietly developed a major weakness. They lost their explosive run game. For years, Kansas City's offense thrived on big plays. Sometimes those plays came through Mahomes launching deep passes downfield. Other times, they came from running backs breaking through defenses and turning small openings into long touchdowns. But recently, that second element had almost completely disappeared. According to ESPN analyst Ben Selleck, the Chiefs produced 2 of the worst explosive play rates from their running backs in the last 25 years during the 2024 and 2025 seasons. That statistic is shocking for a team with Kansas City's offensive reputation. Even more revealing is what happened last season with former starting running back Isaiah Pacheco. Despite receiving significant carries, Pacheco did not record a single rushing play of 20 yards or more the entire season. That's almost unheard of for a starting NFL running back. Veteran runner Kareem Hunt, who returned to Kansas City late in his career, produced only one such run. The result was an offense that still moved the ball effectively, but rarely generated explosive plays from the backfield. Drives became longer, defenses were able to stay balanced, and Kansas City lost some of the unpredictability that once made it nearly impossible to defend. That's exactly the type of problem Kenneth Walker was brought in to fix. Walker has built his reputation around one skill that offensive coordinators desperately crave: turning ordinary runs into game-changing plays. During his final season in Seattle, Walker started 17 games and finished with more than 1,000 rushing yards, along with over 280 receiving yards as a pass catcher. Those numbers are solid, but they don't fully capture what makes Walker special. The real difference lies in his ability to break tackles and create yards after contact. According to advanced tracking data from NFL Next Gen Stats, Walker forced a missed tackle on more than 30% of his touches, ranking among the best running backs in the entire league. That kind of statistic reveals a lot about a player. It means he's not just running through well-blocked lanes, he's creating offense on his own. And for a Chiefs team that already has one of the most dangerous passing attacks in football, adding a runner who can generate explosive plays dramatically changes the defensive equation. Defenses already struggle to stop Mahomes when he has time to throw. But when those same defenses must also worry about a running back who can break a 40-yard run at any moment, the pressure multiplies. Safeties hesitate before dropping deep. Linebackers must respect the run. Defensive coordinators suddenly face far more difficult decisions. That's the strategic value Kansas City is betting on. The Chiefs also saw something during Walker's most recent playoff run that likely convinced them he could thrive on the biggest stage. During Seattle's championship push, Walker elevated his game dramatically. Across 3 postseason games, he rushed for over 300 yards and scored 4 touchdowns, while also contributing as a receiver out of the backfield. Those performances ultimately earned him Super Bowl MVP honors, proving he could deliver when the stakes were highest. For a franchise that measures success by championships, that kind of postseason production carries enormous weight. Of course, there are still risks. Walker has battled injuries in recent seasons, which likely explains why some teams were hesitant to invest heavily in him. Durability remains one of the most important traits for running backs, and even elite players can struggle to maintain peak performance if injuries continue to interrupt their careers. But Kansas City clearly believes the upside outweighs the risk, and the rest of their offseason moves suggest they are preparing to build their running back room around Walker. One sign of that shift came when Pacheco left the team and signed with the Detroit Lions, where he will now serve as the backup to explosive young star Jahmyr Gibbs. Meanwhile, veteran Kareem Hunt remains a free agent and may not return to Kansas City. Instead, the Chiefs added another runner to support Walker, former Arizona Cardinals running back Emari Demercado. Demercado isn't expected to compete for the starting job, but he provides useful depth and versatility. Since entering the league as an undrafted player in 2023, he has appeared in 40 games and contributed both as a runner and as a receiving option out of the backfield. For Kansas City, that combination creates a running back group built around two different roles. Walker serves as the explosive centerpiece, the player capable of changing a game with a single run. Demercado provides depth and reliability behind him, and together they help restore something the Chiefs have lacked in recent seasons, a running game capable of creating fear in opposing defenses. For a team led by Patrick Mahomes, that development could be incredibly dangerous for the rest of the NFL, because when the Chiefs' offense becomes balanced, when the running game becomes just as threatening as the passing attack, defensive coordinators often find themselves in an impossible situation. Stack the box to stop the run, and Mahomes punishes you through the air. Drop extra defenders into coverage, and Walker has room to break through the line. That kind of offensive balance is exactly what championship teams strive for, and it's why Kansas City's bold investment in Kenneth Walker III could end up being one of the most important moves of the entire offseason. Not because it guarantees immediate success, but because it restores a dimension to the Chiefs' offense that once made them unstoppable. The ability to strike from anywhere on the field, whether through the arm of Patrick Mahomes or the explosive legs of their new star running back. When the offseason began, across the National Football League, many expected the defending powerhouse Kansas City Chiefs to focus on familiar priorities: offensive line depth, pass protection, and continuing to build around superstar quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Instead, Kansas City made a move that immediately turned heads around the league. They handed running back Kenneth Walker III a $43 million contract, a massive investment at a position many teams have become reluctant to pay. The deal became even more fascinating considering Walker had just completed a postseason run that ended with him being named Super Bowl MVP. For a franchise that has typically relied on Mahomes' arm to dominate games, committing that kind of money to a running back signals something important. The Chiefs believe Walker brings an element their offense has been missing for years. And the organization didn't hide its excitement. Shortly after the signing, Kansas City posted a nearly 5-minute highlight video of Walker's biggest plays with the Seattle Seahawks, accompanied by a blunt and confident message on social media. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a dog in Kenneth Walker." That statement